Siddharth. I'm working in TTS since 5 years, so quite excited. And I think so. Diwali is the one of my favorite festival, and I do want to talk about this.
Vidula Singare. I'm working with TTS from almost 4 years now, and I really enjoy working over here. I really enjoy connecting with different business units in USA. They all are so much supportive that we really enjoy even working in sometimes odd hours.
So my name is, of course, you can just address me Vivek. I've been with Turner Malaysia for 5 years right now. Completed successfully one project with client Sime Darby, a property developer. So that's Kantara Residences. Also won the Engineering News Record Award.
So I didn't know you worked at Kantara.
I had the most for it because the team is so great and we won awards. Right. So after that, after the completion, I moved on to Merdeka 118 Tower, which is now soon to be a second tallest building in the world. So we should be completing by end of next year or mid of next year for the significant part.
And
so
I got to throw this fact in there. Even though it's second tallest in the world must remember it's going to be the tallest, most sustainable building in the world. And I've been working on this for 10 years. It's a pride for me as a regional sustainability manager for Turner Construction, but that's a whole nother story. Go ahead, back to you.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm the engineering manager and currently still in this project and doing my best to contribute and make this project another successful and also probably another award-winning project.
All right, so now that everybody knows a little bit about the team members that are working for Turner overseas, we're going to turn to Ivy just for a quick introduction, and she'll just share a little bit about how she traditionally celebrates Mid-Autumn Festival.
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Ivy Chu. I'm currently an engineer at the Durst project of Turner Interiors. So Durst is 825 3rd Ave. We're currently doing 41 floors. I've been with Turner for about 4 to 5 years. And a little bit about myself, I'm 100% Chinese. So to talk about Mid-Autumn Festival and how we celebrate traditionally. So for me and my family, Mid-Autumn Festival is probably like the second most important holiday after Chinese New Year. One is because it's actually my aunt's birthday, at the same time. Just to give you guys a little bit backstory, because not a lot of people know about the legend. It was originally originated from the pre-Qin dynasty, and this is a legend that my family used to tell me. So the legends say that there were 10 suns in the sky, and people on Earth was living in blistering heat. There was a beautiful woman called Chang Yi with a husband who was a warrior called Hui Yi. Basically, the husband really wanted to help people. He's really caring, and he uses bows and arrows to shoot down 9 of the suns. By doing so, he was the national hero and was given an elixir of immortality. So this elixir can only be taken by one person, and they didn't want to leave each other because they love each other. But then there was one night where the husband's students was trying to steal the elixir, and in order to prevent them from doing so, Chang Yi drank it. There's also another variation of a myth saying that she actually stole it, but all in all, in the end, she did take it. By taking this elixir of immortality, she flew to the moon with a jade rabbit, then becoming known as the moon goddess. And a little bit of fun fact, China actually had a lunar exploration called Chang'e Jade Rabbit Moon Rover. So so that was actually pretty cool. Then the husband really misses his wife, and so he made offerings to the moon with fruit and pastries, and then started making pastries that were then called moon cakes because it mimicked the shape of the moon. Which is probably why lantern and moon cakes are very big and a staple of the Mid-Autumn Festival. From then on, Mid-Autumn Festival was celebrated on the 15th day of the 8th month of the lunar calendar. And it's kind of for us, it's kind of like a Chinese Thanksgiving where my family just eats a lot of food and have reunions. So every China region has their own type of mooncakes, but the ones that we
Okay.
eat have like lotus seed paste and salted duck egg yolk. And yeah, so traditionally we just eat a lot. We gather together. And I know that when I was young, I used to make lanterns and with my cousins, just to like pray for happiness for me and my family. And then at night we go and admire the food. So yeah, that's how I celebrate it traditionally.
Yeah, I could appreciate the importance of the holiday. I didn't know it was in some regions and some households it's considered the second most important holiday. That's good to know. And the common thread there, I do notice mooncakes. I had mooncakes in probably 5 countries by now. The last time I had mooncakes, I think it was 2020. I happened to visit an ex-Turner colleague of ours. She has Chinese heritage, actually born in China. Moved to Texas and worked for Turner for about 5 years. We worked together on that crazy tower in Thailand. But same thing, she told me that the mooncake is very very important and it's a part of the celebration. And you'll notice Malaysia calls it Mooncake Festival because it orbits around that. And then the lanterns, yeah, I think that's the common thread between both holidays, no matter what variation that we celebrate. It's all about the light. It symbolizes hope and family and staying together. All right, so we'll shift gears a little bit. We're gonna do a few intros. Well, the intros are done. Sorry. We're gonna let the Turner India team explain the traditional 5-day explanation celebration behind Diwali. So it's a little bit long. Bear with us, but there's a lot of good content. And if this is your first time learning about Diwali, you'll get a great in-depth review about it.
So, as we know, Diwali is the most widely celebrated festival of lights. So, and India being so much diverse in culture, this is the most widely celebrated festival right from south to north and east to west. And light for us is a symbol of knowledge and prosperity. And Diwali is actually a 5-day festival, okay, and it symbolizes victory of good over evil. So Diwali is the day when Lord Ram, Sita, and Lakshman returned after the 14 years of their exile and defeating Ravana in Lanka. So first is Dhanteras. This is the first day of Diwali festival, and it is celebrated for by worshipping the goddess of wealth, Lakshmi, along with the Kubera, which is the god of wealth. Okay, and this is a very significant day for all business communities. And on this day, many people buy the expensive metals like gold, platinum, etc. So that's the ritual we follow on the first day of Diwali. The second day is Narak Chaturdashi. So Lord Krishna has defeated Narakasur on this day. When Lord Krishna returned, he was being massaged with the scented oils, and as a result, it has become a customary to people to wake up early because he returned in the dawn time. So people get up before the sun rises. They also take a bath with scented oils and then get ready early in the morning and perform the arti. Third day is Lakshmi Puja. Again, this is worshipping of Lord Goddess Lakshmi, and this is the day of Amavasya, and that is no moon day. We all perform this Lakshmi Pujan, which is and we light the crackers on this day. These are some offerings to the Lord Goddess Lakshmi, and yeah, definitely we enjoy them a lot. So next is Bali Pratipada. Especially I like this day a lot because this is the day where women perform an auction, which is the ritual of waving a lamb in front of their husbands. And traditionally, the husband has to give a gift to his wife. Okay, that's why I enjoy this day a lot.
Generally, they use gold, so gold is
Yeah.
very important in this ritual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gold is actually being considered is the purest form of the metal, and that purity is something we worship, and that's why gold is the most common gift many a times. The next is Baidur. This is the festival season between the brother and the sister. So actually, legend says on this day, Yama, who is the god of death, visited his sister Yamuna for a meal, and the day for a day liberated the souls suffering in hell. On this day, brothers visit the sister place. They perform that auction, that is waving of the lamb, and then they pray for the long life for him.
All right. So our other panelist that's based in New York, Daman, she's going to talk about a little bit how for her and her family being here in the U.S., how it's a one-day celebration, and we'll also hear a little bit about that from Vivek that's in Malaysia as well, because Deepavali is only celebrated within one day. So there's a little bit of contrast there.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Daman Sachdeva. I'm insurance coordinator with New York Business Unit, but currently we are like switched from New York Business Unit to Stratus Risk Analyst. So I'm been with Turner like 5+ years, and I've worked as first as field engineer with the B2 Atlantic Yards project, then with PS398Q, and then eventually I shift to insurance department. So Diwali for me, of course, is the biggest festival for us as well. But as I was a part of Hindu and Sikh family, basically I belong to a Sikh family, but my mother was from a Hindu family. So we kind of celebrated this festival in a different way. For me, it was like not one day, I would say 2-day festival. So we celebrated Dhanteras and the Diwali. So I remember my mom buying metal like a utensil or something of gold or silver during that day. And to be honest, the celebration of this festival, we start like a month or 2 months before this. We start cleaning our houses, painting the whole house, and try to clean up like what you call like spring cleaning. So
Yeah.
we basically do that cleaning during this time, and we feel that wealth comes to the house which is clean, and that's what we were taught. So that's how it starts for us. And we try to buy new clothes, jewelry if we can, and then the whole day it's like full of celebrations. We exchange gifts with our loved ones, and during the night we do the Lakshmi Puja, like the goddess of wealth. So we do that, and then end it with the firecrackers. Not here happening here though, and I really miss that part because it's been 10 years since I came to New York, and I never been back to India, and I never get a chance to do that firecracker stuff afterwards. But yes, this celebration, like this festival, means a lot to my family. I'm trying to teach my children, the same customs or values I learned. So I hope they can take it with them, going forward.
And it's important. Hopefully, maybe you can play this playback for them, and maybe they would appreciate it. And just FYI, Turner India and the TTS team, they said, when COVID really goes away, travel opens up again, they invited everybody to celebrate Diwali there with them. So just keep that in the back of your mind.
No, that's definitely the best time to visit India. That's true.
Yeah, I like the firecrackers myself. I mean, 4th of July is one of my favorite holidays, so I could only imagine how it would look and appreciated in live. We got one more video. I think Vivek from Malaysia, he also had a few points about how the traditional celebration is 5 days, but it's condensed in Malaysia as well.
In Malaysia, it's a bit different. We don't actually categorize it as 5 days. It's just a one-day festival. So how do we celebrate traditionally? It's a journey in the morning, right? So wake up very early in the morning before the sunrise, have an oil bath, because there's some significant reason for it to actually cleanse yourself of all impurities, etc. So after the oil bath, you start with small prayers to the deities and all, and then get blessings from your family, your fathers and mothers if they are there. So after that, have a sumptuous breakfast, a lot of traditional food, sweets, special dishes. I can't recall a specific special dishes, but it really tastes different on that specific day. I don't know what's the reason. Maybe because his mom with extra taste and
Or
extra
they
flavors. So during Diwali, it's more like mixture of things. The small sweetness is getting lesser, but we still have bits and there just for the taste of it. So during this process, of course, after you have your oil bath, you wear new clothes. So it could be, most of them are traditional clothes with a lot of colors. Later, I'll share some pictures over the last 2 years, what we had on recent years. So new clothes, and it just carries forward. So from a small family start, and some of the family also goes for temples, but for me, I would prefer to stay with family because I find that the most important people during the celebration. So after your blessing with family, and then it slowly transitioned to friends and neighbors, etc. Because in Malaysia, this particular day is actually a general public holiday. So no one
yes.
works on that day. It gives the opportunity and the chance for any races. In Malaysia, we have major races, Malay, Chinese, and other people, right? So because it's a public holiday, people are very free to move around, and we do invite them. That is like a tradition that during lunchtime, your family comes over, the friends, neighbors comes over, enjoys the meal. So from
Yeah.
individual celebration starts off with, and then it slowly expands to community. And even towards the dinner, we could be out of the house visiting relatives, more Malay friends, or even have open house throughout the day. And of course, the fun part being is fireworks, right? Firecrackers. So at night,
Firecrackers.
we just light up and make everyone noisy around. So in a day, in short, that's how Deepavali goes in a day for me.
And I've had the pleasure of celebrating in Malaysia. I think it was 2015. With Vivek wasn't a part of Turner at the time. There was another individual. He was a design manager, Hardip Carter, Doug Dirksen from New York, who's now working in Nebraska. And I think even Graham Doer, who came out of Philadelphia originally, was also on the same project as Vivek. So one area in Kuala Lumpur is called Brickfields. They usually decorate it as such. You can see all the bright colors. I can't. Well, there's always traffic. That's Southeast Asia for you. But there's some families there shopping, having breakfast along the sides underneath the tents, and they're getting ready to celebrate Deepavali later that night. We had a costume party, so everybody had to dress in somewhat traditional costumes. So before the night settled in and we played with the firecrackers, this is a small area in Kuala Lumpur. I had somewhat of a traditional dress for the event. So, and that was before COVID, right? You fast forward 4 or 5 years later, 2020, 2021. We haven't been able to celebrate any of the holidays. It doesn't matter what you were celebrating. This pandemic really had restricted and impacted the whole entire world. And so our panelists, both in New York and Malaysia and in India, had a few comments about how they maintain traditions that they, missed, historically, and how they kind of kept those alive today. So Ronnie's going to help us play some of the feedback on their commentary on that note.
Yeah, so the only effect now because of the pandemic or any restrictions that we face, I would just have to see the differences right over the last 2 years. I think last year in Malaysia during Deepavali, it was a lockdown. It was not a strict lockdown because it was showing signs of recovery. So we had the chance of going outside, but the fear started to happen from there onwards. So the fear of gathering in large places really restricted that effort. So it somehow impacted in that way. And this year, I think early November will be the Deepavali for this year. Since in Malaysia now, I think it's good that we have come about this interstate travel. It's a bit opened up. Tourism is taking place. So I think there are some good positive signs that this Deepavali will be like almost restoring to the normal. But the fear is always there that you need to be careful where you're going. There are more SOPs, face masks, of course. You can't don your beautiful makeups. You still have to wear a face mask. Yeah, things like that going on.
And I think as we shift from Vivek in Malaysia, we're also going to go back to Vivek from India. Their video is mostly
this is the
a
old
collage
photograph.
of pictures.
So this is the old photograph right now from last
Right.
2 years. We are not celebrating Diwali due to pandemic because it is a restriction in Mumbai. we cannot travel to
COVID,
office.
so
So
COVID is nobody has expected. Like my friends, like everybody. Generally, this is the celebration where we get together. This Diwali is always where we get together. But I think so. In India, we still keep the spirit, and I think so. Like how we do the meeting online, we keep even meeting to people. I know that there was a less pollution due to firecracker this year's, but that is the only good COVID year which we have. So, but it's good. But last year we found that the Diwali was not that crackling, or because of because of COVID, yeah, and there is a restriction. But still, people have the they're together in family. So most of the time people doesn't get a time. Most of the people also travel in Diwali as well. But I think so they got a more of time here with the family, and I think that is the what the spirit of Diwali was, and truly a unique Diwali this last COVID year.
And don't forget those lanterns for the end of the program today. We're gonna shift gears back to Daman and Ivy, and they're gonna share a little bit about their experiences here in the U.S. and keeping the traditions alive during COVID.
So I'll take this first. Yes, for me, a lot of things have changed. Even being here, I was celebrating the way I was thinking, it should be appropriate. And then COVID hit, and we usually, when we do the Lakshmi Puja, like the goddess puja, we usually go to temple, and then because I'm a Sikh, so we go to Gurudwara as well. So I try to help there, volunteer to serve the meals and donate something over there. So I wasn't able to do that last year just to avoid the large gatherings. But this year we are planning to go early in the morning instead of the evening, so we can avoid that part. But we last year when we weren't able to go out, so instead of getting food from outside, we tried to make all those things at home. Like I did bought some sweets because that's too tough to make at home, but we celebrated it, yes, like with the family, like, and try to wish everybody over the phone, and try to like we usually exchange gifts during this time, so give them gifts during Amazon, like with Amazon, like
Right.
that. But yes, that we tried to keep that bond in between us, because we receive gifts too, so I don't want to miss that part. So yes, that's how we try to keep it alive, even though we weren't able to go out or celebrate it in a traditional way. So this is how we try to just keep it alive, staying home. And we did lighten my balcony, and because when we were back in India, we tried to lighten the inside and the outside of the house, with lights or the clay lights. We do that, but here we are not allowed to use fire in the apartment, so we just use the regular light bulbs in the balcony just to illuminate the house. So that's how it changed for me. Instead of going in person to the temple or Gurdwara for some rituals, we just did it at home.
At home, so you kind of
Yes.
modified within the space that you had access to.
Yes, and I had those YouTube videos, like songs, I put those traditional songs on, so we can do that puja at home and feel the same.
To make it feel the same, you'll have to share your playlist with me, because the one I had on earlier got some bad.
Oh yes, I need to give it to you. The one you had was like sad songs.
Wow. Well, mark that down as a PDTA. And Ivy, how about yourself?
So obviously the challenges I faced during this Mid-Autumn festival is not being able to see my family outside from my immediate family due to their fear for the pandemic. Normally my cousins and my aunts eat together, and this year we actually plan to visit Macau, which is a special administrative region of China. We're actually going to go celebrate my aunt's 60th birthday, but I didn't have the chance to visit due to the now 21-day quarantine. So definitely don't have that much vacation days for that. So now we just replace it with, FaceTiming my family and WhatsApping my family. The moon is always looks the same wherever you are. It's going to be a full moon, so we like to go outside and admire the moon, especially with the telescope that I have, so which is pretty cool. I also eat dinner with my immediate family. Like always, we eat a ton of food, always at least like 5 or 6 plates, and I eat a lot. And of course, end it with mooncakes. This year, a little bit different. I had traditional mooncake as well as some modern mooncake, which is like called a snowy mooncake. It's something like
Okay.
mochi, which is pretty cool. It's good, great for the young folks. Um, and but aside from that, I didn't do much anything special. But I do know that there's a lot of events for Mid-Autumn festivals. There's like lantern festivals, like especially upstate New York and Jersey City, which I do intend to do next year. So
Okay, awesome. And I think we have one more clip from Michelle from Malaysia. She also touched upon how she experienced COVID, and she said a lot of similar things: spending time with the family, maximizing the use of within her house, and then also technology. Diamond had mentioned Amazon. I forgot what it's called in Malaysia. There's like Gojek or something like that, and they use the same e-commerce to send friends and family gifts.
Since we couldn't gather together, so for
Correct.
this, I actually ordered some mooncakes online and got them delivered to my friends and relatives. Actually, I think this is also a way of telling them that even though we can't meet up physically, but we can still share the joy together.
So one good point about Malaysia, they're very unique, and they actually it's one of the it's actually like the U.S. And if anybody is ever a fanatic of country flags, the Malaysia flag is very similar to the United States one. And I think both countries are melting pots in one of itself. So that's why if you notice, Vivek had talked about a little bit about awareness of Mooncake Festival, and also Michelle is a little bit more aware about Deepavali, which you probably wouldn't see in India or some other nations that celebrate maybe one or the other. We're gonna play a few. We're gonna go back to the Malaysia team and play a few of their videos about them appreciating the other holiday.
I know the festival is about lanterns, lighting up lanterns and let it float either in the water or the sky.
Yeah.
If you are in a city area, because you are living in a close community, you have Chinese neighbors, you have other races around. So you do observe that these things suddenly come out on just out of the garden, you see a lantern coming out, then you realize, oh, okay, it's Mooncake Festival. At the same time, if you go to the shopping mall, the one great thing about here is shopping malls get decorated for any events,
yes, they do.
events.
Christmas
So,
included.
Yeah, Christmas included, even though it's not a major celebration here.
Right.
Diwali gets decorated, Chinese New Year. So even Mooncake Festival, they do tend to have activities like for children to own their lanterns, make color painting, and of course the savory part is the delicacy part is the mooncake itself.
Diwali, we call it Deepavali, right?
Is it? Deepavali. Yes, that's correct. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I'm not very familiar with Deepavali because I grew up in Sarawak, which
yes, Sarawak.
We don't celebrate Deepavali.
Correct. Sarawak is
East Malaysia.
East Malaysia. Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
For me, it's a public holiday, maybe.
Yeah, I forgot that Michelle was from East Malaysia. So there's 13 states in Malaysia, and you get all of that melting pot action probably in Kuala Lumpur, which is almost like a mirror sister city to New York City, but kind of outside that bubble. Depends on the demographics there. So that's why inside Kuala Lumpur, it's considered its own state. You'll see a lot of that diversity, but then as you get further and further away from the capital, it kind of disintegrates. So we have one more set of videos where everybody recommended, if you're curious out there, maybe you don't formally celebrate Diwali or Mid-Autumn Festival, Deepavali, or Mooncake Festival, some recommendations on how you can partake in the festivals. And this is important too, because we're not saying that you have to, celebrate, but if you just want to appreciate your colleagues, you notice that they're celebrating, this is just some advice and some tips on how you can open up to their cultures and stay connected with them?
I would say clothing, the most easiest accessible things.
Clothing, okay.
Yeah, clothing, right? So because once you wear it, it's just not for you. Whoever is going to see you on the street or outside is going to recognize, hey, what are you wearing? So once you expose yourself with those kind of ornaments or decorations, you automatically get into the mood and creates that sensation, right? And if you're more of a reader, likes to read books, just read about any articles, even a podcast or anything to do with how this celebration came about. So you will actually know the stories and reasoning behind it. And if you are the positive person, you just gather all those good messages in that story. And most importantly, is gathering communities. I think that's the most key aspect of the celebration.
First, we'll be trying the moon cakes, and I think lighting up lanterns will be a good activity.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually quite similar to Halloween in US. You know,
Yes.
like kids going around the neighborhood, lighting their lanterns. Yeah.
All right. So the last question for Daman and Ivy. Now that you heard each other speak about one another's holidays, what do you know about the converse? What Daman, what do you know about Mid-Autumn Festival? Is there anything that you will pick up, within your own celebrations, and then Ivy the same?
Honestly, before listening to Ivy, I had not much clue what Mid-Autumn Festival is, but I remember Chang bringing the mooncakes to the office in 2019, I guess, if I'm not wrong, and that was the first time I ever tasted it. And I mean, I was searching for it when I get that invite over the internet, what it is, but according to me, it was just end of the autumn harvest. So, but after listening to Ivy now, I have some idea, actually, I know a lot now. As Ivy mentioned, everything about it, the story behind it. So now I know. But before this, I had not much of the clue.
All right, I think Ivy's camera and audio probably froze, so that's fine. I guess I could talk a little bit from my perspective. I didn't know anything as well. Kind of got lucky to experience firsthand. I definitely appreciate having that experience, and it enabled me to host this program with the little bit of experience that I have. And so I would definitely challenge anybody out there, when next year comes around, maybe you might want to host, or maybe you might want to help facilitate. And since we're engaging with the audience now, is there any comments, any recommendations that you picked up from the session today? It's a kind of like an open mic, open forum part of the session now. Before we go into the lantern making,
I want to actually say something. So
Sure.
what I heard from everybody talking like Malaysia and Indian team and Ivy, what I realized is basically, I mean, we call whatever names of these festivals, but this is basically about celebrating your family, your loved ones. So we should always appreciate that we have a family, we can sit and enjoy the time with. And I would just like to say everybody should not take that time for granted, thank your family and, be there for them, show your love any way you can, even if you can't be there in person. This pandemic has taught us a lot of things, so
Yeah.
stay in touch. That's the celebration.
I love that. That's a great closing point.
Yeah, I actually want to touch upon the same thing. Overall, same thought. Like overall, like these holidays revolve around unity, culture, and family. Therefore, very much cherish your family during these unprecedented times. Spend time with your family, even if it's just a quick dinner. Enjoy the nature, eat lots of food, and I think it's also important to, think about these traditions, because as we're moving on to a more modern society, some traditions die down and sometimes forgotten. So I do really suggest you teaching your kids or others about these holidays, because that's where our roots and all our habits stem from, and it was passed down from our ancestors. So that's the root of our culture. So yeah.
Thank you. And there's a few comments in there. I see there's a question on where can you order good mooncakes. That actually, I would appreciate that answer too. And then I also see a comment. That the conversation is making them think about food. Yeah, that's why if you notice when Michelle was talking about mooncakes, I smiled, my eyes lit up, and I kind of like giggled because I remember how many mooncakes I used to eat. Does anybody know off the top of their head? Oh, go ahead, Ivy.
Yeah, I can speak on top of mooncakes. So you can right now, Mid-Autumn Festival was celebrated in mid-September, so the time is over. But there's always next year. So mooncakes are usually sold in like Asian supermarkets. Typically, any Asian supermarkets is good. I know the best mooncake is called Maesam, and their mooncake is $60 for a box, which is probably the best one out there. If you want like some modern snowy mooncake that's like mochi, kind of tastes like ice cream, it's called a snowy mooncake, and it's like $10 for two, which is also pricey, but all in all, it's great holiday tradition to celebrate. It's good. You guys should try it.
I would
There's
say
cheaper ones out there.
I wouldn't go buying them now, because like Ivy said, that it's seasonal. It's for the holiday. So if you go down to Chinatown now, there probably are some stores that still sell them, but they're probably a month out of their the best before date. But I'll do the same thing next year. We'll bring. My mom loves sharing this tradition, so she always brings them over. I'll reciprocate and bring it into the office and share it with everybody. They went very fast this year.
Yeah, it did. It did.
I can imagine. I miss it this year though.
All right, so that concludes the panel part. Who's ready to make some lanterns? We're gonna have Ronnie. I kind of didn't introduce him, but Ronnie's been behind the scenes sharing the video. He did an amazing job editing all the videos. I think we probably had about an hour of content, so he helped us cut it down. Because the Malaysia and the Indian team, it's barely 6 a.m. there or 3 a.m. and 3:30 in India, so they couldn't join the session live. So that's why we opt for the video recordings. There he is.
Yeah, it's getting set up. Give me like a quick minute. Get started on this lantern making. I hope you guys got all your materials prepared. So let me just share my screen real quick so it has the right camera on. All right, so right now it should be.
Ronnie.
Can never have enough screens. All right, so we got that.
Oh, nice Skywell box.
It's a little dark.
Oh yeah, for the audience out there, don't forget the prizes. If you post a story, post an image, don't forget to tag Skywell to opt in for one of those prizes.
All right. Yeah. Oh, we say it at the end too, because we have like a few prizes we want to share with everyone. But all right, so let's get started with this Diwali lantern making. So right now you should be able to see my screen, which is my desk. So be making a lantern first. So we're gonna have the construction paper that you got here. The one I got is 9 by 12. So we're just gonna be taping it to make it a little bit longer to make the base of it, which is gonna be 9 by 18. So what we're gonna do first is just lay one down.
Hey, Ronnie.
Get some double-sided tape. Yeah. Hey, what's up?
This is Sasha. How are you?
Hey, doing all right?
I'm excited to be making these lanterns, but my pieces of paper are not 8.5 by 11. I'm using recycled magazine paper.
Okay.
Is that okay? Like, because you're talking inches and it's not.
Well, the only thing with having a specific measurement is that there's going to be a certain part of it that's going to be kind of proportioned out to, or kind of proportioned out of the height of it. So as long as you like cut it in a way where it's proportioned correctly, it shouldn't really matter. So
Okay.
it'll be easier, just easier for me since I just have a very specifically sized paper that it works
Okay.
out.
I'll do my best. Thanks.
Yeah. There are no wrong answers during this lantern making. So fortunately, since my cutting mat here is 18 inches wide, I can just line it up. Doesn't have to be too exact, and you just get a 9 by 18 piece of paper here. So next we're going to make the trim that goes along the sides. So you want to pick something that's a little complementary to whatever color you choose, or not. You can use whatever you want. So in this case, I'm just going to make like a yellow trim. You're just going to be cutting it however thick you want, roughly. If there's 9 inches, maybe like 1 inch or half an inch. Just be cutting a straight strip. You're just going to be doing it a few times since your paper is like a little bit longer than your typical piece. I think 4 strips should be enough. So we have that here. Fortunately, I have double-sided tape, which makes it way easier. But you can use regular tape, do that little O thing to make it double-sided, or if you have glue, that's like the easiest thing to use. You're just going to be pasting it along the edges, making your trim. And you're just going to do it on the top and bottom. Not quite straight. Do that. All right, so we got the bottom done. Now we got the first half of the top. And then the rest of it. All right. So it's kind of getting to how lantern is going to be. So you have your base here, you have your trim on the top. Eventually, just looking to the future, is going to be folded up into a cylinder like this. So you can see already the lantern taking shape. Next, we're going to be adding the decorations that are going to be going vertically around the lantern. So in this one, I'm going to be starting, you're going to be cutting out like 2 different types of squares, or 2 different sizes of squares. In this case, I'm going to be using orange here for the larger square, and then a red one for the smaller. So essentially what you want to do is that this diagonal of the square is roughly a little bit shorter than the length here. It just kind of wants to touch the trim here. So in this case, I find that if you're using the same type of like color paper, you can just cut it in half. And then to make an easy square out of it, if you don't have a ruler or anything, you can fold a diagonal here. And then cut the excess like that. So this should be close enough, perfect square. You can see that it's a little bit longer than the edges here. So you can always cut it shorter, or you can keep it like this because you can still see the yellow trim, so it's not a big deal. But then you can just use this as a template. Just cut the rest of your squares. Let's do this for the other half of the same paper. All right. So we're gonna be doing this repeatedly for these squares. For the smaller square, similarly, if you have same type of paper, you could use the short end now as like a basis. In this case, fold it lengthwise, so horizontally. Cut it through. And same thing, fold it diagonal, make yourself a quick template so then you have to remeasure everything. You get template square. So you can see that it's pretty equally dimensioned out, or fits together pretty well. And you're just gonna want to do this roughly 10 times, around 10 times. So it's gonna be a lot of cutting and repetitive cutting. So it's gonna be like the basis of the pattern that we're gonna be decorating the lantern with. So what we're gonna do after you get your squares cut out, just tape this to the middle, make sure that it's centered. Center it as best as you can. We have kind of like a diamond. And then what you want to do is some tape on the corner and just fold it into a cylinder here. Oh. Fold it into a cylinder here. So it's going to be something like this. And then we're going to be repeating that just 10 times for all the different pieces that are going to be going around the lantern. So we get a lot of these like excess pieces from the paper that we cut. So what we're going to be using these extras for is just like decorations that be going on top of this. So in this case, you can be cutting like any type of pattern. You can cut out like a flower. You can cut out a circle, a diamond, a heart, anything that suits what you want to make your lantern. So you can just make one, make all of them, but you just basically make your shape. And you just tape it here. And then we just repeat the same thing across the entire lantern. So sure, that's going to take a bit of time. So fortunately, or maybe unfortunately for those watching, I had a lot of these prepped up since it's going to take roughly maybe like 15, 20 minutes to cut out all these different types of cylinders and squares. So I have this prepared first just to get our time, get under the time limit that we got. So once you have all these like made, we're gonna make like the tassel underneath. So in this case, we just want to make like basically almost like stringers. So since this was made with like 2 sheets, you're gonna also want to use like 2 sheets. This is the same size. Basically, you're just gonna have like different stringers coming down here. Or you can use like different colors, whatever you want. You're just gonna be full of different stringers. So easy way to just make stringers, you just fold it like this. Doesn't really need to be too precise. You just keep folding it. And then just cut close like this. And then you can see you don't need to go through the entire length of paper. You can just like cut it through like this and it makes the stringers itself. So I'll show for a little bit more. Just make sure you don't cut all the way or else the paper will fall off. but at the end, it's going to look something similar to like this. That's going to take also a bit of time. And once you have this done, you'll get something that looks similar to this. So we're going to be taping this to the back of this. This is going to be on the inside of your lantern. And then if you want to add like a little bit more variety to it, you can also add like other colors. So not just purple in the middle, but orange as well. Whatever colors you choose. So
Looking good, Ronnie.
Thanks, Xavier. All right. So we got the tassels made, hopefully, and then we're going through all the different cylinders that we got. So now we're just going to be pasting the cylinders onto the lantern. What we're going to do is just essentially it's going to look like all these cylinders one after the other. So you just want to take your time and just tape them all there. And I hope I have enough tape.
Ronnie, gotta
What's
be
up?
honest, I got a little lost.
Sure. I know it's like some steps were rushed a little due to just like the repetitive nature of it. But where you lost at, Natasha?
Okay, so cutting, how many squares do I need of those to make those like cylinders?
So I made a total of 12.
Okay.
But depending on like how wide or how large you like fold your cylinders,
Yeah.
seems like we only need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay. Okay, that
So
helps.
yeah, it really depends on how many how large it is too. But really making a little bit extra, I just made a little extra just in case. So when you're making like your squares though, what other people do is that they also customize like each one. So you don't need to just stick with making a regular like straight edge square. Sometimes what I've seen people do, or what I've seen friends do growing up, is that they serrate it as well, but that's gonna take forever unless you have that like serrated scissor, which some people did growing up. So it's just adding different levels of detail to it. Here, like different levels of detail to it to just make it a little bit more custom to however you want it to look.
Natasha,
then,
if you have a paper cutter in the sales department, I think this would be the time to use it.
Yeah, I should have stayed in the office. I went home early. I was like, I'm gonna do this from home. I'll be so excited.
it is a lot of cutting for this. I guess I should have prefaced this. That's a lot of cutting.
Ronnie, did you have some pre-cut on the side?
Yeah, all these are pre-cut.
Okay.
It's kind of like in a cooking show where you like see them put it in an oven, and then they instantly take another one out. That is what I did. Just because we don't. If I were to cut all these, it would take quite a while.
I don't think we do that on our Skywell cooking show. We cook live.
Oh, Ooh.
We'll add that to the PDCA for the lantern.
Mm-hmm. That's a plus delta for the lantern. I'll make sure for next time. All right. So once you get like all your different cylinders like here and like set up, you can kind of get an idea of how it's gonna look like. So you want to just carefully bring it back on its side, and then just put some tape all along one edge. We're getting this all set up. And then we're just gonna slowly fold them together. Carefully fold them together. So now we have bases of the lantern. Once you get the tape to set in. So here you go. You have the lantern. And then at the end, depending on if you have string or not, you can even just use like another piece of like craft paper. Fold it up. And then you can make just a paper handle for it.
You can do the Squid Game shapes for this.
Oh yeah. You finished watching it, Chung?
Yeah, in one sitting.
In one sitting.
Wow.
That's a lot to take in at one time.
Followed by
it's a lot of trauma to take in at one time.
Followed by Alice in Borderland right after.
All right.
That's a lot of violence, Chung. Both of them. A lot of violence.
Yeah. All right. So once you have like the lantern handle here, basically have the entire lantern finished. All right. I guess if you go to the video, since my camera only shoots straight down, basically have see the lighting. Lantern. And it's a really white light. Are there any questions of people getting lost along the way?
This is good.
All right, so those who are like making the lantern or just gonna be making it later, since it's also a lot of cutting and you might be still catching up on that. Make sure we have like Skywell gear and a candle and some snacks that we're gonna send out to like 3 random people who post their lantern on like Instagram, and tag the Skywell group on it too. And then if you have any questions on this, let me know. And hope you guys enjoy your lantern. Happy Diwali.
Awesome, Ronnie.
Great job.
Yeah. Thank you for joining, and spread the word. I know we're often busy. I mean, even myself, you know, sometimes I can only tune in for 5 minutes on an ERG program, but the recording is always good, and encourage everybody to watch it when they have time. I don't know if Chung, we're gonna put this on TKN at all, or maybe in the Turner Exchange place rotation.
Yeah, we'll find a place. This is
Okay.
definitely worth posting.
Question, guys, will we also have the instructions how we did this? Because I came on late and I never would have caught up to you guys. So I'd like to
That's a
try to
good
make
point.
it myself for
I
Christmas.
got close, Ronnie.
Yeah, it was
Well,
really good for the
I'm only
amount of
showing one
time I
half.
gave you. Oh, okay.
The other half
Yeah,
is
that
up.
looks really good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Chuck,
right.
Alice,
do
I
that,
can
do
put
that really
instructions.
fast.
We can post the instructions. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just need to type it up first, and then I can post it.
We can repost this video. It's only like 15 minutes.
I would appreciate it because I definitely want to make it.
Oh, nice, Diamond.
Ooh,
Yes.
I'm halfway through because he has the cuttings. I still have to make those cut.
yeah.
Okay.
All these
So
cylinders take a
it's
while.
somewhere there. Yes. And I don't
Yeah.
have the double-sided tape, so that was a challenge too.
Oh yeah. The lean tape. And then if your paper is like translucent enough, the one that I got was just construction paper, so it's not very see-through. Get yourself like an electric candle and like try to light it up. So mine doesn't do that too well because of the thickness of the paper. You just like tape it to like the sides or underneath it.
Or you can throw
That's
your
just-
cell phone.
Or you can put your cell phone, that's true. That's pretty expensive to just leave in a lantern.
Yeah, your
all the
spare
time.
phone, your spare burner phone.
I use a wax paper, colorful wax paper at the bottom. So I just transfer the light.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that should show the light pretty well.
Let me see yours, Chung.
I'm halfway done.
Oh, cool.
This is the finished side.
Awesome. I love making things like this.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a try with my nephews when I get back to New York.
There.
Very
Hanging
cool.
up.
I'm gonna start with some scratch and do it right.
What? Yours look pretty good already. I don't know what you're talking about doing it right.
Mine's
You
gonna,
get fixated on the lines that aren't straight.
mine's gonna take so long because I'm very particular, but I want to show you my little. So I'm using a National Geographic magazine. So I'm like cutting it apart and like making recycled pieces.
Oh, nice.
I
You're
think we have
gonna cut it specifically where it shows like an animal at each
Yeah,
one. So
like
you
I'm
have a
trying
penguin.
to make it look cool. Like this one's like a butterfly, but then I didn't realize you have to fold, like roll them. So I'm trying to figure out how I could still use it.
Ah, you can put it in the center square,
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
can see like more of it still.
yeah. So I'll be here a while.
Submit it later.
Is that a
Yeah.
Star Wars symbol, Bonnie? The thing that,
What?
that you have,
Oh, no.
is that the
It
Star
was
Wars
supposed to
medallion?
be, no, it's not the rebellion,
Oh,
but it's I mean it's just like a symbol I found.
cool.
It's a simple design.
Gives me an idea.
Are you gonna make a Star Wars lantern with the rebellion, the Empire symbols going
I've
all the
got
way
200
around?
guitar picks with nothing to do with them, so I'm gonna decorate it.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, like from what I've seen people do, they also you can put like additional stuff on here. Maybe
Yep.
put like the bedazzled jewels, just make it a little shinier. Yeah, just like whatever. It's like just a base version of it. You can add anything you want.
Very neat.
Very nice, Ronnie. A lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot. That's why I prepped last night on all the pre-made squares.
So do you have to get the changer? Do you have to write the change order for that?
It's gonna be on overtime, premium time.
Time and material, literally.
This was amazing, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for joining.
Loved it. Thank you so much for teaching us.
Yes, I know the lantern making is gonna take a bit, so might just end it here. You can always, like said before, post your lantern onto the, or tag us on Instagram, post your lantern on Instagram, and then we'll select 3 random people to receive the Skywell gifts. And then, yeah, hope you enjoy.
Thank you very much.